live from the Good Beans Cafe in Flint, Michigan. The Creative Alliance presents the Creative Collab Night Open Mic with our host, Marc, Funnyman, Taylor. Yay!
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's good to be here again. So, lower this microphone down. It goes down to my side.
That's a fancy pink one, isn't it? I don't remember seeing that one.
I'm tickled pink with it.
Kind of looks like a big. Anyway.
I dropped the mic. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, before I get started, let you know that I want to welcome you guys to another installment of this collaboration night. Yes, I am your host, the Funnyman, Marc Taylor. It's good to be here. And I learned something the other day. Never squirt ketchup over your eyes. You know why? Because then you have Heinz sight. Yeah. That one catched up to me. I had to muster the strength on that one. Then I had to relish it later. I hope I went through all the condiments. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
That was Tony.
Yeah. That was. I have a little funny story to tell you guys. The other day, I went with my mother to Joann Fabrics. You know where that is, the art store. So we were looking around for Halloween stuff, and we went our separate ways. She went to one side, I went to the other side. So I decided to look at the sewing machines over there. And I walked over there to the sewing machine section, and I noticed that there was this lady that was getting frustrated at the sewing machine she was using. So my mother was at the checkout, and I walked back to her and I said, "Mom, guess what happened?" It's like, "What happened, Marc?" I said, there was a lady that was using her sewing machine and she got angry at it. You know what she called it? And she says, "No, Marc, what did she call it?" And I said, "She called it a little so-and-so." I'm gonna be a little so-and-so if I don't get these jokes done. Anyway, I also have the official Funnyman shirts, if Miss Jennie would like to hold one. There's different sizes from small to extra, extra large. Different colors, blue, black, and green. So, if you want to get yourself an official Funnyman Marc Taylor shirt, they're $15 each for a shirt. So, they're a good deal.
They're in your trunk of your car, right?
Yep. Trunk of your car. And whatever else.
How much are they?
They are $15 each.
Only $15?
Yes, $15 each for a shirt.
Great.
Woo! So, that's the shirt off my back. Yeah, thank you. Looks like I need to do infomercials for the shirt. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get started with our first act.
Tell people to sign up.
Oh, and if you want to sign up or anything, don't be afraid to sign up.
It's right there.
We have lots of time, so if anybody wants to sign up that hasn't yet, better do it now before it gets too late later. Oh, and we can also paint. Yeah, we can paint. There's a painting section right here. You go up to the canvas and paint whatever colors you think that whatever that she has on there, which is a unicorn. I wonder if there's a V-corn. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so with that in mind, let's see who our first guest is.
Gary Flinn.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me an honor and pleasure to introduce this man that's coming up to the stage right now. He's our very own Flint historian. Please welcome, if you can, and give him a big hand for Mr. Gary Flinn.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, I got another newly minted subsection of Lost Flint, of more places that were lost, this time to progress, but to the ill-fated Water Street Pavilion, which took out a big section of downtown, including some noteworthy buildings. So here's a piece for the forthcoming Lost Flint. Again, this is just a draft, like I mentioned in my previous Lost Flint draft presentations. So here's Lost to Water Street Pavilion. In 1969 and 1970, two large regional shopping malls opened which siphoned shoppers from downtown Flint. The Eastland Mall in what was then Burton Township, now the city of Burton, at the corner of Court and Center Roads, that's now Cortlandt Center, in 1969, and the Genesee Valley Shopping Center at the corner of Linden and Miller Roads in 1970. That immediately led to the closing of the downtown locations of F.W. Woolworth Company and Sears Roebuck and Company, which had moved to Genesee Valley. While the other larger department stores in downtown Flint hung on for a few years, they closed in 1979 and 1980. J.C. Penney left downtown Flint at the end of 1979 for two new stores in the aforementioned shopping malls. Montgomery Ward and Smith Bridges both closed in 1980. The number of vacant storefronts had increased as a result when businesses either moved or closed. That led to plans in 1983 by the Downtown Development Authority and the Mount Foundation to develop a festival marketplace called Water Street Pavilion, which required the demolition of buildings covering 2 city blocks in the heart of downtown Flint, including several landmark and historic buildings. Now, I'm passing around some pictures, either real pictures or newspaper clippings, of these buildings that I mentioned. I missed one, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. The first lost building is Bryant House, or what was left of it. Possibly the oldest structure raised to make way for Water Street Pavilion was what was left at the former Bryant House Hotel, which was a 4-story building that was built in the 1870s. In 1936, the top 2 stories were dismantled and the first floor was converted into a series of storefronts. Upstairs, a curved stairway led to the ceiling. Tall arched windows were bricked in. A modern facade hid the changes. Leaning against the walls were a few doors with transom windows with room numbers still on the door panels. The final owner was Avery Spinsware, which occupied the north end of the building at South Saginaw and Union Street. The next lost building is actually a complex of 3 structures, which I've stapled those pictures together. This is the former Hubbard Hardware Complex. Hubbard Hardware was founded in 1865 by George W. Hubbard and partner H.B. Newton. Hubbard bought out his partner 5 years later. The 4-story hardware store at 327 South Saginaw Street was built after a fire destroyed the 3-story building Hubbard occupied on that site in 1913. It evolved into a wholesale and retail operation with an overhead walkway above Brush Alley connecting to a large 5-story warehouse that later was expanded to 9 stories. An industrial supply division was also established. In 1963, the business was sold and the new owners decided to close the retail and wholesale side of the business after 98 years of operation. The industrial supply business is now called Hubbard Supply Company. It is still in operation with locations in Flint, Saginaw, and Battle Creek. After Hubbard Hardware closed, J.C. Penney operated an annex store in the space where the catalog and toy departments were located from around 1965 to 1972. It had stood vacant since then. The next structure that was lost was the Sill building. The Sill building was Flint's first skyscraper, built in 1911, and was called the Flint P. Smith building. When it was completed, it consisted of 168 rooms for tenants. The lobby featured veined Italian marble. Smith was the son of lumberman Hiram Hardwood Smith. The youngest Smith died during construction, and his widow completed it. She sold it to a stock company in 1915 for an estimated $150,000. It went through several owners over the years, and in 1949, it was renamed the Sill Building by Dr. Irvin Sill, a dentist and part owner. In 1965, it became a condominium with each floor having a different owner. The first such commercial building sold that way in Michigan, managed by the Darby & Son real estate firm, which used the proceeds to renovate the lobby and install air conditioners. The Downtown Development Authority, the Flint Downtown Development Authority, acquired the building in 1983 for $800,000, which led to its demolition. And now for the Smith-Bridgman building. Flint's heritage business was Smith-Bridgman & Company, which was founded in 1862 by William L. Smith. Employee Charles T. Bridgman became a partner in 1871 to create Smith-Bridgman. In 1923, the first of 3 7-story sections was built on the site of the original location. A second addition with a similar facade was added in 1936, and the final addition on the south side, which replaced the ornate facade with a windowless mounted facade, in 1957. In 1970, it was sold to L.S. Good & Company of Wheeling, West Virginia. While it did open suburban Smith-Bridgman locations in Grand Blanc and Davison, the parent company filed for bankruptcy in 1979. The downtown store closed for good in 1980. That store was the oldest department store in Michigan and one of 4 west of New York State that had operated at the same location for more than 100 years. Arcade, and it should show up as one of the pictures. And as with the other buildings I talk about, Jennie will insert the photos of those buildings as I talk about them. The Milner Arcade, which stood at the corner of South Saginaw and East First Street, was most unusual in regards to its architecture. Dating back to 1923, it was a hodgepodge of architectural styles with Mediterranean, Tudor, and Art Deco styles on this 3-story building facing First Street. Because of its small footprint at the corner location, there were calls to save this building. The Downtown Development Authority decided to hold off on demolition until it was determined that it was sound enough to save. Alas, the Mount Foundation decided the building was too far gone to be saved. Next I have the Chrysler/Fenton building. One of the pictures shows both that building and another building I'll talk about, which was across Kearsley Street, which was the old J.C. Penney store. But now, for the Kresge building. In 1923, the Fenton block at the southeast corner of Saginaw and Kearsley Streets was torn down to make way for the 4-story Kresge building, which was an office building on the upper floors and storefronts anchored by the S.S. Kresge Company variety store and lunch counter on the main floor. By the 1950s, it had taken over almost all of the main floor and basement. After Kresge closed that store in 1977, the owners of the building adopted the name of the building that it replaced, calling it the Fenton Building. The similar McClory variety store took over the space, but had to close due to the building's impending demise. Now the former Home Dairy building. The 5-story Home Dairy building was built in 1929 and originally housed a home dairy store, which sold groceries along with including a soda fountain and a restaurant. It was in business until 1964 when it lost its lease. It had plans to remodel, but was unable to obtain a lease extension, which led to its closing. In 1966, Smith-Bridgman opened the store for the home, offering appliances. It lasted about a decade. In 1978, Michael Rizik bought it to house businesses run by family members, which included Michigan Bookkeeping, Income Tax Service Company, Business Analysis Company, Computer Visit Company, and Johnny Fast Print Company. The business has operated for a couple of years, but by 1981 it stood vacant. Now for the former J.C. Penney store. The J.C. Penney store moved around 1943 from the still standing Dragon building to its own location on the northeast corner of Saginaw and Kearsley Streets. It was Penney's only location in Flint, notwithstanding the annex store in the former Hubbard Hardware building, until it closed after the Christmas season of 1979, when Penney's opened new stores in January 1980 in East Line Mall, now Cortlandt Center, and Genesee Valley. The signs were removed, and even the words J.C. Penney were removed from the terrazzo entrance floor, with plain concrete taking its place. The building stood vacant until it was torn down in 1974. It should be 1984, sorry about that. All the above buildings, as well as all the structures in the area bounded by Riverbank Park to the north, Saginaw Street to the west, First Street to the south, and Harrison Street to the east, were torn down to make way for the festival marketplace, which was named Water Street Pavilion. The land south of Kearsley Street became a large parking lot, dubbed the Flat Lot, where various activities can also be held. Water Street Pavilion opened in 1985. Alas, it was not successful and it closed in 1990. The University of Michigan Flint bought it in 1993, and after renovations, it became the University Pavilion. As you might guess, I'm going to have to make some more revisions to this piece before it gets published. And of course, I'll have some more stories. In fact, I'm now working on a piece about 3 structures, high-rise structures, built in the late 1960s that did not survive past a half century. Those buildings, just to tell you what they are, were the Voyager Inn, which was later the Warwick Inn and then Holiday Inn. Then it became senior housing and student housing, but then it was abandoned for a few years until it was finally torn down, I think in 1992. Then it was Genesee Valley. You know what happened to that one after it became vacant and it was imploded. And then an 8-story building, I believe, that was torn down just last year, the old YWCA on 3rd Street. The YWCA is now located inside the Phoenix building, so hopefully I'll have that next month, and I thank you very much.
Give it up for Mr. Gary Flynn one more time, please. Awesome stuff. So, the first creative meeting will be held the first Wednesday of each month at Churchill's at every Wednesday or every first Wednesday at 7 p.m. I hope that I didn't mean to slur that, but
No, it was good. Okay.
part of my gig. Anyway, oh, and another thing, on Monday nights at 6 p.m. on Comcast Channel 17.
And Wednesdays.
And Wednesdays.
At
What
7.
time?
7.
At 7. So on Mondays at 6 p.m. on Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. you can catch our episodes of the Collaboration Night and Art Walk on
And
Comcast
others.
Channel 17.
Flint Underground. All the
And Flint Underground.
All the Flint Underground videos.
Yep,
On the Flint
all the
Underground
content
YouTube
and
channel.
all that can be checked out. Or just go on YouTube and go to our Flint Underground page down there.
Yeah.
And you can catch past episodes and watch little me make a goof of myself. and watch other cool people come up here and do their thing. So I wanted to get those out of the way. I know Halloween's coming up, so did you hear about Dracula going into the doctor because he was coughing and sneezing and he went to a coffee shop and got him decaffeinated coffee. And then he was hungry, so he got Ghost and Jelly. Speaking of Ghost, I took a Ghost to a bar. He wanted booze. I'm gonna get booze if I don't get off the stage for their next act. So, Miss Jennie, could you tell us who our next act is?
Jennie Moench.
Ladies and gentlemen, our very own camera lady and book writer, Jennie Moench.
Hi. Well, first off, I just wanted to tell you about the different things that are going on. Like Friday, we're having our Flint film night. And we're going to have local films, and we've got about 2 hours worth of local films. And some of them are scary and some documentaries and just all, but they're all local people. So we're going to start doing that every third Friday right here at the Good Beans from 7 until 9. And that first one is starting Friday. So it should be a lot of fun. And I've got the 2 hours filled too. Should be a lot of fun. Most of the videos are like maybe 5 minutes, but then we have one, the longest one is 35 minutes, I think, and that's the scary one. So, anyway, oh, and Gary is going to have one in there too. Oh, Gary's is so funny. Yeah, it's great. How long is that? Like maybe 15 minutes or something?
About 15, I guess.
Yeah. So, and all the rest of them, and then I'm going to have one in there, and then we're going to, it should be fun. Anyway, but if you like this type of open mic, we have the Collab Nite every third Wednesday here at the Good Beans, and every first Friday at Buckham Gallery there is also an open mic there, and every Wednesday starting at around 10 o'clock, like conveniently right after this open mic is over with, there's an open mic at the Golden Leaf, and that's mostly music, and what you get to do is play with the band, if you want to, or you can just watch other people do that. There's some really good talented people in there. So, anyway, my new book is called Near Future, and there's probably a copy of it around here somewhere, but anyway, and now what I am doing now is that it's a book of short science fiction stories about the near future, and there's 5 different stories, and so now what I'm doing is I'm writing like the second episode of each of those 5, and I've written the first one, and that's on my website now, jenniemoench.com. Press a little red button and you can listen to me read the book to you, so it's like an audio video book. And I have those of the other stories too. But anyway, but now I have the second episode of the first one is out there for free if you want to listen to it, and then now I'm working on the second episode for the second story, and that's called You're Only Old Once, and that one takes place in a nursing home. But so what happens is that the residents who are there for various different reasons, they're kind of trapped in the building, but they use virtual reality because that's something they grew up with it, and so they socialize, and most of those stories take place in virtual reality. So anyway, that's the second story, and I just started writing it, and most of this I just wrote today, so it's all new. So anyway, it's just like 2 pages and a paragraph. Okay. Oh, and then something else that's going to be fun. So anyway, You're Only Old Once. Life in the city nursing home had become quieter in Oogle history anyway. Millie had moved into an empty room in Deborah's virtual reality mansion. They enjoyed quiet time sitting together talking, but Millie was becoming restless. Her dart competitions had caused her to have a few extra virtual coins in her virtual wallet, and she wanted to go somewhere interesting. Have you heard of Oogle Future? She asked her friend one evening. Deborah shrugged. The new program looked interesting, but that would require her to learn a new app, and she just wasn't interested in extending that effort. She enjoyed looking out at her flower garden that she had planted, and despite her initial reluctance, the milkweed that Millie had planted was bringing in a variety of large, multicolored butterflies. They were fun to watch. Well, I have a competition in a few minutes, Millie explained. Want to go? No, I'd rather spend the rest of the time watching a movie, Deborah mused. I just love watching the movies on that big screen. You feel like you're right there in the room with the action. Millie sighed. She just didn't understand why people spent so much time rewatching movies. She zipped up to her room and retrieved her latest set of darts. She had several, and she pulled out the menu and selected the venue where the competition was to be held. A second later, she found herself transported to the lounge, where a crowd of avatars were mingling. It was a multi-roomed complex with basketball courts, soccer fields, baseball, diamonds, hockey arenas, bowling alleys, and several other venues where team sports were played. The central lounge, where you were first transported, had a stage. She glanced up at the marquee that advertised an open mic to begin in an hour. She made a mental note to check it out after the competition. She moved to her venue, which was a large coliseum affair with auditorium seating and a large oval. Millie was admitted to the ground floor with the rest of the competitors. 6 dart boards were arranged around the perimeter. This wasn't the first competition that she had taken part at in this venue, but it still caused her to marvel at the crowds that it attracted. Her nativity kept her from suspecting the true interest of most of the spectators, and that it wasn't for the love of darts. She located the board that she was to be playing at, and then quietly waited for the current game to end and hers to be announced. She watched the competition. One of the dart throwers was dressed in a yellow leotard with a red cape. The other was merely a pair of gloves and goggles. The score was close. She could hear a cheer from the audience as the invisible competitor made a bullseye, that it was the last turn for the red-caped player who took their position behind a black mark on the floor. Then each of their 3 darts flew in quick succession, the last one hitting the bullseye, marking the end of the match and installing the superhero as the new winner. There were some cheers, but also a few loud voices shouting oaths and complaining at the outcome. Millie was surprised at the crowd's strong reaction and marveled at their perceived enthusiasm for the game. She knew that she was to play the winner and wondered if anyone in the stands would be rooting for or against her with the same veracity. She looked up into the stands for a familiar face but didn't notice any. And the next match on board number 3 will be the current champion Orange Menace versus Millie. There were a few murmurs from the stands, and Millie was a bit embarrassed to step up to her mark. She was wishing at that moment that she had created a more intimidating pseudonym for the occasion, but nonetheless she took her dart from her quiver and waited for the bell to announce the start of the match, as it was the custom for the challenger to go first. She tried to clear her head and reminded herself that the game was her form of meditation. She needed to concentrate only on the flight of the dart to its ideal destination. And then she did it. All 3 darts hit the inner circle, and the first and the third landed on top of one another in the very center. There was a mixture of claps and moans coming from the stands. Millie shyly backed away to the sidelines to watch her competitor. The Orange Menace took their spot and also waited for the bell. But their first dart missed its mark altogether. The crowd booed. The next 2 darts were better paced, one on the triple score ring and the other just shy of the inner circle. Still the score was in Millie's favor, and that would remain out throughout the match, which Millie easily won. She also won the next 2 matches, making her the champion of the day. She was excited to be the grand prize winner. Her virtual coin chest was now bursting at the seams. Happily, she walked towards the exit of the Coliseum, and then the avatar with a pasty complexion, wearing a formal black tuxedo and top hat, blocked her path. He took off his hat and bowed low in front of her. "Greetings, I am Anthony Flower," he announced, as he replaced his black hat on his head. He was wearing a black mustache that matched his black eyes. He would have been in monochrome if it wasn't for the flower, the red flower, in his lapel. Hello, she answered meekly. "I was watching your competition just now. Very impressive." "Thank you." She was anxious to get away from the avatar since for some reason he made her uneasy. But before she could step past him, he took a place in front of her again. "Millie," he began, "I was hoping that you might be interested in being in a competition at my lodge." She stopped, her ears perked up at the opportunity for another competition. "Sure. Is there a cash prize?" Mr. Flower smiled at her change in demeanor. "Of course. There's a cash prize of $100 for each victory and $1,000 for the tournament." This made her smile, as she was still drunk from the recent winnings. "Just let me know where and when," she said, as a virtual business card flew from her to Mr. Flower's gloved hand. He clasped the virtual object and then removed his hat once more before bowing and then disappearing. Millie mused happily. Her skill was attracting new opportunities, she thought, with a feeling of satisfaction. She moved through the high arched doorway and into the common room with the stage, and there the Masters of Ceremonies was introducing the next act for the open mic. This reminded her that she had planned to stay for the entertainment. She still had 10 minutes left in her VR appointment. "And now I would like to introduce one of our regular poets, Minced Meat." There was a round of applause as a pink avatar sporting a bright green mohawk stepped up to the stage. His googly eyes blinked nervously as he began. "Tonight, I want to read something that was written by someone else," he began. There were a few sounds of encouragement from the audience. "I'm proud to say that I have come from a long line of authors and academics, and my great-grandfather was one of the very vocal critics for change. He lived in Flint, Michigan, during the time when opportunities vanished from the city, leaving its occupants without the means of supporting themselves. Homes became vacant, criminals began looting the structures of metal and anything of value, and then bands of vagrants began to occupy them. It was after that that the fires began. His poem is about those long days, long ago, when Flint was dystopian. It's called Ruin Porn by my great-grandfather, Nick Custer." Now I'm going to read it. I'm going to try to read it. I can't read it like Nick would read it. Is he here somewhere? Maybe didn't show it, did he? Coward. Okay. Ruin porn. Perverts treat posted properties like prostitutes. Scrappers are sadists, prying off siding like wrinkled panties heaped across slutty trunk beds. Up the street, exploding houses surge with horror and amazement at the ecstasy of gas line fingering. The East Side's horny hunger strokes hard through no-ho zones, trapping copper for money shots. Behind the rain-soaked blinds, walls have been ripped down and ravaged by desperate Johns trying to keep up with the Joneses, drooling over curled toe, claw-foot tubs, and air duct forced to give blowjobs. A kneeling home's warped wooden legs buckle last, long after her spirit and the front porch. She condemns herself with cut and plug mascara caked on to distract from her guttered stare towards another pimp's hand slapping for sale by owner on her ass. The driveway gets shaded by the lashes of overgrown branches, the basement's trashed and rancid from former tenants and cycles of entrapment. The soul needs to flee before the coffin gets buried or smashed in. Tricks get stripped and teased into foreclosure, and no one seems to care that this is happening. So predictably, just childhood's end, ratty pigtails fray away and live wires stop sparking, but fiends will still pay anyway. leaving a busted frame barely standing, and another forgotten address soon to be erased from the tax rolls, dead inside, waiting like a bomb to be dismantled.
Huh.
That was so awesome. Give it up for Miss Jennie one more time, please. Very good stuff. Okay, let's go to our next guest, which is
Marc and Andy.
would you please welcome Marc and Andy to the stage?
Yay!
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Can I get just a little bit of reverb, please, in the microphone?
Your vocal.
Yeah. Check, check. New outflow?
You want it in your monitor too?
No, that's okay.
Just the house?
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Hey, everybody. We're Marc and Andy. We got a band called With What We Know Now.
Oh, cool.
And we totally didn't make that name on acid, if you guys were wondering, because we didn't. This is a song called Wildflower. It was long ago, I know I was on a bad road. Knew this guy was wise, but to my surprise, I seen the shame as I looked in his eyes. Carry on, flower. Carry on. Carry on, wildflower. Deep in the woods, and I'm losing my mind. I've been asking myself why for all this time. I was back on the trail when a beast came out in front of me. I can believe I was seeing what I think I seen. I said go, now's not your time, wildflower. Carry on, wildflower. It's not your time, mine, and I'm losing my mind. And you're on your knees, but it's not worth my time. What I'm trying to say is I can't feel the pain when you're gone and you're here, but it's just not the same. I won't go. Carry on, wildflower. Carry on, wildflower. so it's not totally done, but it actually is done, but we haven't. Who am I kidding? Here we go.
Oh, wait, that other one, right? That one was capo, right? Second fret, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know where the sun goes when it's not shining. And I don't know where the love goes when you're blind. And all I know
Thank you. Is that it, or can we play another one, you think? Got enough time for
Yeah,
another?
there's only 3 people signed up after you.
Cool.
Maybe?
Stay with One of my dear friends from Flint, he's been here before, you guys might know him, Jeffrey Kotz, passed away recently. And I made a video on Facebook, dedicated this song to him. So this one's for you, Jeff. It would probably sound better if I didn't have it out of tune, right?
Can you actually turn me down a little bit? This one's got a heavier signal than the others. Thank you.
Sure that's it? Okay. Alright. This one's for you, Jeff.
I'm floating in a world that I've never seen before. I hear people calling my name. I'm staring into darkness that fades into light. Body is riddled in pain. Do you know what happened? Do you know where you are? Son, are you feeling okay? Do you know who you are? Do you know what's been done? Tell me the name of your only son. I'll talk to you, you talk to me. Now close your eyes, don't you fall back asleep. You stay awake, you got a promise to keep. Stay awake. Stay away. I look around, all I see is family, crying and holding your hands, getting asked questions, but I've got no clue. Just trying to understand. Do you know who you are? Do you know what's been done? I'm tossing and turning since you've been gone. Now I wait for you, you wait for me. Time, close your eyes, don't you fall back asleep. You stay awake, you've got a promise to keep. Stay awake. Stay You were the glue holding everything together. Now that you're gone, what are we supposed to do? When I pass that house, I'll always remember what our lives were like before we lost you. Do you know who you were? Do you know what's been done? Tell me the name of your oldest son, and I'll talk to you, you talk to me. Now close your eyes, don't you fall back asleep. You stay awake, you got
Thank you, everybody.
Alright.
Can I unplug this? Okay.
This is awesome keyboard that he's got out there. That thing is so amazing.
Thank you, man.
I can see a board somewhere. No, kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest.
Thank you.
Matt D.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Flint's very own poet, Matt D, to the stage.
I guess it'll do up here. Wow. Hey everybody, I'm Matt D. Wrote some new stuff. Second draft. Phonetic was my body language. Introverted furnace, echoing with sounds of fury, coming back alone. Temporarily, permanently stricken with a seemingly unquenchable curiosity. Surrounded by tempos that lacked any spark or fire, thought-provoking unrest, a mind craving some sort of test within a body that peaks with hormonal descent. Sowing fire with seeds, if it leads, I'm willing to bleed. Finding yourself infected by what you wanted to know, the forbidden fruit independently reaped. It's now what you must grow. Amongst the clockwork of pre-existing solutions, a barren landscape at ease with institutions, debts and insurances, numbered productivity. Who's got the nerve to ask me for accountability? Or are you trying to test my human dignity? And with every year that passes, there's a continental shift in my social body, seemingly outnumbered and riddled with cancerous shells, feeling as if I'm a single remaining cell, just doing its job, making the heart healthy, beating and throbbing, instinctively ever investigating if God is just nature collectively, remembering that addiction lives and lives under attack. For every truth that changes our reality, it cracks. When it comes to slaves and masters, the only answer is none. But the world at large, when what is left cannot be undone. So I'm going to live as a final cell theory, doing its job because all I needed to know is that one action is really better than none. All right, this one's actually called Totality. Today is the math equation, a blending of numerals counted by individuals, reading, writing, predicting to manifesting visions of activity, bringing to mind the truth of memory we've all come to call history. And now, a word from our sponsors. Do the best you can, but stay in your place. Live your potential, but respect that you're living the results of the empowered. This is first world. You don't need more, unless you think like us, in which case it's on you to beg at the door. Our instincts speak a language of sincerity. So when rebellion pumps to heart without brakes, the animal is looking for higher ground, but the pre-written keeps the vision. Accounting that everything you consider may be up to you, but you're in a garden of unproductive fruit, where the sound of offense is the loudest injustice you hear, and the sacred numerology is mistaken for solidarity. Totality is a lifespan, bearing in mind the planet considers you a flash in the pan. Still working the kinks out on that one. I wanted to, yeah, well, thank you for putting up with that. I'm gonna do something a little different. I wrote this song that I usually sang a certain way. And I'm gonna try something a little different.
You gonna sing?
Well, there's two different ways to sing this song. One is when I was listening to Johnny Cash a lot. The other, that was like a G.G. Allen kind of thing. Like, I was thinking about it, all right?
G.G. Allen.
All right. You know what? Couples often argue, broken love and shit. It's true. So that's doubt throwing a shadow over how I really feel for you. But I'm gonna show you I'm still trying. I'm gonna show this love still big. I'm gonna go do a little hunting and bring you back a pig. Cause you know a cat will bring you a bird, but a dog will bring you a third of whatever it kills or digs. But to show you I still love you, I'm gonna bring you back a pig. Because piggies aren't friendly, it always gives you something to hate. Great God Republican, put them at the gates. They never get enough, bottomless guts, the souls are God-forsaken. So when I'll make one less pig in the world, I'll bring you the bacon.
Wow, that was amazing. Matt, you bring out the best of the poetry I've ever heard. Before we get to our next guest, I'm reminded that you can make donations to our collaboration night in that little jar right there. And if you put any kind of donation in, you get a Frisbee. But if you put $10 in, you get a shirt. So if you want to, when you have a chance to, just go out there and make any kind of donation will do.
You get a Frisbee.
And it would be appreciated. So with that in mind, who's our next guest?
Dion Gaddy Jr.
Please welcome Dion to the stage.
Oh, and you like to sit on a chair, don't you? There's a chair up there.
We need the mic your guitar, right?
So, yeah, I think you're the one that you don't like a stool.
Yeah, sure. You want a stool or a chair?
I'll take a slow one.
Okay.
And you sing as well, yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Deontay. My mom's name is Dion. I was a little scared. I thought my mom was here or something. I'm gonna do something I haven't done like since I first started. Oh yeah.
I just want to say one thing. The mic is like right in the middle of your head for the video. If you want to move it to a side, want me to help you?
Yeah.
Like if you just move it like right about here, then I'll cut the spit out. There, is that okay?
Yeah, that's
Let me
cool.
see if that works.
Hello.
Well, it's better, but it's still like in your forehead.
Oh yeah, that's cool. It reduces the size of it. Alright, so I'm gonna do original songs that I just randomly write. I like to write things in like this little journal with no like main objective or anything, just little poems and little silly songs and stuff. So this song is called I Don't Know. So I don't know.
move his mic a little bit. It's right in the.
You know
it's
what?
right in your
It's in
head.
my head.
Yeah, just move it towards Mark a little bit.
Mark.
Like just the pink part, just the pink part.
Oh, just the pink part.
Yeah, just the pink part, because that's the part. A little bit more, a little bit
A
more.
little bit more. All right.
Okay, there. Good.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Hey, hi, Mom. All right. I want to tell a joke. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Mark.
No, go ahead.
So how do how do monsters tell the future? They read their horoscope. It's whack, but it calms the nerves. So I wrote this song in honor of it's National I think Anti-Bullying Month or something like that. I wrote it actually in like August, so it just kind of coincidence that it's National like Not Bullying Month or whatever. This song it doesn't have a name. It's just about a guy named Peter in the school. So I'm just gonna play it now. So it did have a title. It was The Good Folks Die Young. So that was the title. I didn't really have a third song, but I'm gonna just do one of my old songs. I just write little things. Well, actually, I think I know this song by heart. I'm not reading this actually. What's a monster's favorite dessert? Ice cream. You got it. That's fine. Oh yes. The coolest jokes, yes. In the spirit of Halloween. Such a great holiday. I didn't go trick or treating until I was 13, and I grew up in like a really religious home. So, I mean, it wasn't fun though. I think I got drugged. So, alright, I'm just gonna do this one. I'm gonna close my notebook because I didn't find the page. This is called I don't have a name for it, but I think I'm gonna call it like Space or something like that. I don't know, something weird.
to space and land on Mars. I'm gonna kick my feet up and stare at the stars. Gonna be high. Won't be anyone around with anything to say. There ain't gonna be rules, everything my way. Cause there ain't no booze in this big red place. Have a piece of mind. Hey, don't you wanna come? Sarah, hey, yeah, it's gonna be fun in space. Don't you come to stay? That's it.
What's your name?
All right, give him a hand one more time, please. Those jokes are great and included in the songs. You know, you were talking about ice cream. I scream a lot, but not too loud. Do you know where you take ice cream to in Sunday mornings? You take them to Sunday school. Yeah. So, I heard that astronauts like moon pies. Yeah. So, anyway, we're gonna go to our next guest.
Beach Dog.
Would you please welcome Beach Dog to the stage?
Yeah.
Might take me a second to get set up. All set?
That sounds a lot better to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check the vocal a little bit there.
Sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Not really too keen on doing any originals tonight. Hope you don't mind. Your prettiness is seeping through out from the dress I took from you. The song is called Naomi by Neutral Milk Hotel, if anyone knows that. Let's see what's next.
Your daughter the other day, well, that was weird. She had right now shaped earrings in her ears, but yeah, a man and a soda, it's on the house. Remember what I told you about the rooms inside this house? She don't let me, that's news to me, that's news to me, that's news to I think you and I could be in love. Well, if you believe in yourself, you can free your soul. Oh, if you believe in yourself, you can free your soul.
I'm gonna try another one. I'm definitely gonna mess this up though. Hope you guys don't mind too much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
What a beautiful face I found in this place, circling all around the sun. What a beautiful dream that could flash on the screen in the blink of an eye and be gone from me. Love to be in the arms of all I'm keeping here with me. What a curious life we have found here tonight.
in the sun, count every beautiful thing we can see. Love to be in the arms of all I'm keeping here with me. Thank you. Thank you. Do I have time for another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I walk through the door, a million flowers laid on the floor. When I see your face, it hurts a little inside. When the summer's over, no more snow. When the party's over, it's time to go home. When it feels like the world is ending, right outside your door. Oh, a million people stood and stared. A million eyes all landed on your hair. I laid in my bed, swollen honey jars sit by my head. A million pieces of shiny islands all lay out open and bare. I hope that I get to stay here. I hope that I'll hear when I'm older. Oh, oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I had prepared for the night.
All right.
Thank you.
That was some awesome stuff. Give it up for him one more time, please. By the way, how long did it take you to make that amp?
A couple weeks.
Sweet.
Yeah, still working out the kinks.
Oh, let me just get a picture of it. You made that?
Yeah.
Cool.
I see 6 tweeters. Is there a woofer in this?
No, it's two speakers.
2 speakers? They...
Two big speakers. They came out of 2 different 15-watt amps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
And then the
is
head is just a Fender 15-watt.
nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So give it up for him one more time, please.
Thank you.
That was so cool.
I appreciate it.
Next time you come in here, please. You sound like Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. So could you do a Smashing Pumpkins song the next time you come up here?
I'd love to.
Yeah, cool.
Because
You know what? If we have time, I could attempt one now. I know a couple of them.
You're done.
Come on.
I think they're closing.
Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
right.
till 9, actually.
So they're-
No, I gotta go. I gotta get
So, do we have any more people coming up, or would you like me to do my little bit of comedy for a little bit?
Yeah, do some comedy.
All right, I'm gonna do sit-down comedy instead of stand-up,
Okay.
because I'm gonna sit down.
Probably unscrew that middle one a little bit, yeah.
I love wrestling with this microphone. So, anyway, so there's these two dogs talking. One says to the other, "Man, I'm losing my mind." The other dog says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, my owner left to go on vacation. My girlfriend left me for a German Shepherd, and I'm just losing my mind. What do I do?" He says, "Why don't you go and talk to the psychiatrist?" He says, "Well, I can't because I'm not allowed on the couch." Yeah, that was a rough joke to tell. You know, I had to take my herbs and spices to the doctors. They had the chives. I tried to take the beekeeper to the doctors. It was a bad idea. He had the hives. So there's this bald-headed man that walks into a haircut place and says, "Man, I'd like to get me a haircut." Lady turns around and says, "Sorry, we can't help you, but here's a comb." He says, "Well, thank you. I'll never part with it." And I myself will never part with these jokes. Did you hear about the guy that had a frog in his throat? He croaked. I'm about to croak on these jokes here. So, anyway, did you hear about the violinist and guitarist that went on a date? There was no strings attached. Yeah. It was a musical date. Yeah. So, anyway, I went to a bank the other day and I asked the bank teller to check on my balance, and he did. He pushed me over. Yeah. Next time I go to the doctor for that one. So, the invisible man and the invisible woman, they got married, then they had children, then became transparent. Oh yeah, the joke's not done yet, because the kids, they weren't much to see. So, the invisible man had to go to the doctor, and the doctor looked at him and says, "Sorry, we can't do anything for you today." Yeah, because he's invisible, you know. So, I got one more. So, I have some friends that have addictions. You know, I had a friend that was addicted to soap. He's clean now. Yeah. I was addicted to pickles, and that was a real deal. I knew a guy that was addicted to the hokey pokey, then he turned himself around.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So, that's my jokes and everything, so thank you very much.